There we go. And we're live. Cool. So yes. Hi. Earthquake. Um, yeah, so I'm pretty pleased with the new
And we're
broadband.
live.
Go away.
Cool. So yes.
No. Stop being sound and stuff. Oh, jeez. That was a bit shocking. But yeah, cool. That sound really startled me. Anyway, broadband is better than it was. Before we were on TalkTalk broadband and it was a bit shit. But now we're on Virgin broadband and it's okay so far. We've had it for approaching 6 hours now, and the upload quality looks all right. So the audio and video seems to be coming across decently, relatively smoothly on the little test that I just did. At least it was looking smooth on my phone, which was still connected to the old Wi-Fi network and not to the Virgin network. Although I do have it playing in the background but muted, and it's a little more juddery on the computer. It's a little frustrating, but nothing that I can't deal with. But yes, it also means I've got the chat thing up. So if anyone wants to talk to me while this is going on, you can do. We've got the chat screen bit up. But yeah, updates and shit. So yeah, life's going on. So finished uni, finished all my uni work. I've done videos explaining about that anyway. Being a professional DM is looking more and more promising. I've made my CV. I've made slight modifications to my CV, and so I've got 4 different copies of my CV for different types of job, and I've applied to 13 jobs where I have modified the CV and cover letter to personalize it for them. The other jobs, I don't know. I went on to CV Library and looked for all the jobs in Leeds that have communications or media like in the title or as part of the main job description, and just went, apply when I first left uni. So, and one of those I'm on the shortlist for. All the ones where I personalized stuff, not heard a thing. One thing that's really annoyed me about this is that the agencies, they hide stuff. The agencies don't they don't share what the company is. Huntress was one of the job agencies, and another one was Selic Partners, something like that. And neither of them would share who the company was that I would be applying for. So I've got nothing to go on. I've got nothing to build my cover letter around. I've got no idea how to put my best foot forward. I can't research the history of the company and see if it's even one that I want to work for. It just seems a little odd to me. But that aside, being a professional DM is something that I've been looking at over the last couple of weeks. It's not a concept that I was willing to seriously entertain. It was a flash in the pan pipe dream idea, but it's viable now. I've got the time. I've got nearly 20 years worth of faffing about experience with Dungeons and Dragons. I can, without any of the rule books, run games. I could develop entire campaigns. And this is something that I thought was a ubiquitous quality with Dungeon Masters, but apparently it's not. So I find myself in the unique position where running a homebrew campaign is easier for me than running from a module, from a pre-made thing. A pre-made thing, I need to sit and read the pre-made thing in advance. And if I'm reading it at the time while it's being played, it gets slowed down. Whereas if I'm making stuff up, I don't know what it is about my short, long-term memory thing, but especially when it's stuff that I'm doing for games, I remember it a lot. I still remember most of the campaign that I ran for a good few years. I started with my friends at the time, Jordan and John and Craig and Andy and Robin. And we were playing this game, which I dubbed Elemental Forces and Undeath. And I had this idea where it was 8 primal energies of the universe. So you've got your 4 Grecian classical elements, earth, air, fire, and water. And I decided to take a couple of Chinese variants and add in a few more. So I had a void, metal, nature... metal and nature I had as opposing each other, so metal / artifice, and we had void and light, and those were the 8 elements that we had. With nature kind of standing in for wood as one of the Chinese elements, which they would have instead of earth sometimes, or was it instead of? I don't know, can't remember. Look it up. So. The storyline was initially surrounding that, and then one of the players wanted to port a character over from a previous campaign, and in that previous campaign, that character had split into a good and evil side, or rather a player character and an NPC version that was slightly evil-er, because this person had slightly evil intentions. So when I ported that over, I thought it would be fun to port the villain over as well, but have him as a villain out of time. So he was transported a few hundred years earlier and was since deposited. And they got to meet up and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I took these elements of that older game and stuff, and I would keep them in my mind. And for years and a rotating cast of players, the players that ended that campaign were Robin still, but everyone else had left. John's character kind of progressed into an NPC, same with Craig's character. It was fairly easy to phase the others out entirely. But then we had friends Steve and Angela. They were playing along with my friend Sarah. She came and went. Simon and Rachel. No, not Rachel. Fiona. Yeah, so like a completely different group at the end of it. And yet I could remember all of the classes and races. I could remember all of the major parts of their characters. I remember that Jen Alguacil was a shyster. He was someone from the far west of the continent where the Elven Empire hadn't quite reached. And he was coming here to just make some money. He didn't have any strong aspirations or anything. He just wanted to scam people, and he was good at it. And he had met up with a friend of his who was a small gnome called Meclarella Guttermuse, and she was someone who liked tinkering with things. She was a lithe gnome lady who liked sneaking about and being a rogue, doing roguey things. And she got interested in mechanical things. But her and Laia Cyanadel, the aquatic elf from the north, they both went dress shopping quite frequently, which frustrated me because I had to then have dresses available at shops and things. I didn't have to. I wanted to. I wanted to have things available that the characters wanted to shop for and that were reasonable to have there in the world. I just learned far too much about different fabrics and bodices and things than I ever wanted to. But the location of places in the world, a lot of the non-player characters, which I've now ported into my new campaign that I'm running, a lot of these things just are able to stick in my mind. And so I find it easy to just run these things. without referring to any paperwork or notes. I can just invent new ones. I don't know why. I don't know if it's improv training from drama school or if I'm just weird. Which kind of leads me to this whole paid DMing thing. I am uncomfortable with it. While the idea of being paid to do something that I enjoy doing in my leisure time and would enjoy doing every hour of every day, it feels odd that this is something that I would charge money for, since I'm offering it to my friends for free all the time. So why would I do anything? Oh, hi and bye, people joining and leaving, which is fine. But yeah, I just, the idea of earning money doing something that I have been doing for free for nearly 20 years feels odd. And I feel awkward asking for the money. But I've set up a PayPal account for this thing. I will be sorting out a Patreon soon. I've signed up for Patreon. I just need to like fill in the page and set up perks and things so people can pay me regularly for doing stuff. But of course, I need to think of things that I will be doing that is worth people paying for. People are talking about all these different online services and things. I'm part of this group, DMs on Demand, and they share like best practices, things that they do. And everyone's on about using all these latest gadgets and gizmos and things. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but that's not going to be necessary. Like, if someone thinks that that's necessary, I don't think that they've quite got the right idea. It's like karate, right? If you are going to be taught karate by someone, the fact that you have a space to do it and they know karate that you don't, or that they know it better, or can better evaluate how you are at it than you can of yourself. That's pretty much the requirements for having a karate teacher. Anything above that, like having the right training equipment, having crash mats, having dummies to punch, having other people to punch and kick and test things on, those are all things that I would say are superfluous. They are extra things that if they're there, great. If not, it's no great loss. So when running games of Dungeons and Dragons or other role-playing games online, the requirement for there to be anything other than my voice and their voice, to me, suggests that these people that are saying that these are our requirements don't play these games often, or if they do, they have played them in environments where they haven't, I suppose, haven't had to make do. I don't know. It seems to me that the environment that you have to be in to assume that you require miniatures, maps, tokens, these sorts of things. Maybe it's just me being curmudgeonly. Maybe it's me just going, "Oh, you've got a silver spoon in your mouth." Back in my day, we put up. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's that I am quite rightly recognizing that there are lower requirements for doing so, and so the barrier to entry is lower than people would like it to be. But maybe people are wanting to add these things in so that it is more than just someone rocking up to a microphone and running a game from there, that there's something that people are paying for. The problem is that a lot of these resources that people are suggesting are required are paid for resources. You need to buy subscriptions to them and whatnot. And yet there are free or cheap ways to do it. Like if I wanted to share a map with people, whatever voice over IP service we're using will likely be able to send files. I could use Paint to have an image in there, and if I wanted to move like little tokens of people around, I could do that on there. There are other services that I can use for free to do that sort of a thing. So I don't I don't think if I'm doing it online that I'm going to be using an awful lot of these expensive resources. I would like to think that I won't be using any of them at all. I'm a big fan of the theatre of the mind stuff. So you describe something and it happens in the imagination. It's an older school way of doing things, I understand. But yes. Hello. 2 people watching. Yay! Oh, 1 people watching. Oh. Yeah, like, I don't know. I just feel awkward about charging for these things, and requiring to add in extra stuff just seems a bit weird to me. It's not my bag. So I suppose that's something that I should be marketing for. I should be saying to myself that, oh, this is just who I am. This is how I am marketing myself. I am the older school person. I am someone who just, does things old school. I don't use all of these online tools and things. I wonder if that's going to damage prospects. And see, now I'm having to seriously evaluate all of this as though this is going to be my main income stream, because I don't have a job, because the job market is weird at the moment. It's really hard to talk to people about this sort of thing. It's really hard to get human resources departments or employment agencies to probably just sit down and talk about the state of the workplace, because it seems to me really different from when I was last looking for a job. It seems to have radically changed, and I don't recognize it. It's weird. Working can't have changed all that much. So there's something about recruitment, the human resourcing environment and industry has modified so much. And it seems to be one of those industries that, to me, shouldn't radicalize or change over time. It should be the same all the time. It should be whoever's the best fit for the job out of the people that are wanting to go for that job at the time. You put them to the people making the decisions, and you go, right, these are the best people. Yeah, this one's got a quirk of personality that you might not get on with, but they bring in this awesome thing, or this one you could get along with a little easier, and maybe you could train them up to do the thing that this other person can do. Maybe you can't, though. It's always going to be a risk. There's your choice. Like, that's what it should be. There's no necessarily right or wrong answer. It's just the person's decision at the time. But it doesn't seem like that's what's going on. It seems like you're just a whole bunch of people coming in a wave, dropping your CV with a bunch of different people. And they're basically just picking them up and going, all right, this one hits the right marks, we'll go with this one. All the ones that hit the key words, the key points that they've put in the advert, regardless of whether or not they've just used different words to describe the same thing. Human resources and employers are being lazy. And that's a bit scary. One of Eric's toys just started up. This is Batmobile. He's in bed. That's just weird. Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting annoyed, getting disenfranchised. But nah, with actual work, I'm going to find something. Something's going to happen. Because I can't sit still. But this professional DM thing, I reckon it could take off. So what I'm thinking is, if I charge about £10 an hour for my time, that is reasonable, especially since I don't have another income stream. So I'm doing a free play session probably this Tuesday at O'Neill's in Leeds, 12 to 4. So if anyone wants to come to that, feel free. I'll be in one of the back rooms. And a couple of guys from Mexico want me to run an online game. They want me to run Curse of Strahd, that module. So yeah, it's gonna be. Oh, I've got toothpaste on my. God damn it! That sucks. I need to go and change my top now. Really visible on the camera as well, dude. Anyway, yeah. So I've got some guys in Mexico that want me to run Curse of Strahd. I'll run Curse of Strahd for them for free. Tuesday, I'm running a free session. I want to have a slot where it is just always free. And what I want to do is see if I can bring in a decent increase to the profits of the pub. And so if that is the case, can I have that information and use that to negotiate a small stipend, a little thing thrown my way, you know, throw me 20, 50 quid for running this free game session. So it's free for them, for the patrons, but not for the pub. And that way I'm getting paid either way, but customers are still getting free sessions. New people are getting introduced to the thing. And then I have paid sessions other times. And, you know, £10 for me, for my time. So £10 an hour for me means that if you've got a group of 4 or 5 people, you know, it's a couple of quid each. Yeah, I don't think that's too bad. I suppose the problem then comes in with what people are expecting for their £2 an hour. Are they just expecting a game to be run, or are they expecting miniatures and atmospheric music and a smoke machine? You know, strange ambient lighting, candles, and weird scents that I'm wafting into the place. Do they expect me to bring in costumes and put on extreme voices for all the characters? It's about expectations. It's managing expectations as well. Communication is going to have to happen, and that's going to be, I suppose, my test for myself, whether or not I can effectively leverage the skills that I've learned at university, my ability to read a consumer base, an audience, and interpret what would be the best way to communicate what to them. So I can find the best way to communicate to people that have no idea what Dungeons and Dragons is, that what they're getting in for is a guy sat at a table with a whole bunch of paper and dice and pencils for you to use, and he will instruct you on how best to use them, and voices and good stories and a well-run tight ship mechanics wise will be presented. But that's pretty much it. Like, I don't have a whole bunch of miniatures to bring to the table. I don't have I don't model like small scale terrain or anything. I'm not a terrain modeler or anything like that. It could be something that I'll look at in the future, but for now, I need to start somewhere, and I'm starting with what I've got, and that is a near encyclopedic knowledge of how the games work, because they're fairly simple. So I've got a few game systems where I know how they work, I know how to run them, and just need to reference them for character creation and for maybe some special abilities, and that's it. You know, for me, once you know how a game runs, it's then a game engine like you would for a computer game. So you could just, all you need to do then is just slot in assets. And for me, those assets are easy to come by. For me, I can generate assets very easily and just slot them in. Maybe it's because I consume a lot of media and I store little simulacra of what I'm consuming in my head somewhere, and I can just pick at them and rearrange them and stuff. Maybe it's because I'm big into deconstructivism and I like deconstructing characters and ideas. But I don't know if it's the books and games and films that's given me all these cool ideas, or if it's just me being weird. I don't know. I don't care. It's something that I have at my disposal. I don't see it as a curse at all. I don't see it as a burden. It's something that would be extremely useful in this industry. And so why not? Why not put it into practice and try and get paid for it? So yeah, that's my shit. Yeah. I made a couple of blog posts, uploaded another video. The upload speeds are fantastic. In fact, what I will do is, just before I end this video, it's quickly going to speedtest.net once more. Please placed out of the camera shot. There we go. Let's just test this again, because we've been wobbling between 20 meg and 100 meg over the course of the day, but it's been averaging around 90. The ping's gone up and down as well. We've gone from 2 milliseconds for a ping to 29 I'm seeing now. I think that's the highest ping I've seen. I'm now at 105 as a download speed. And upload initially was 0.8 and then went up to 1.5. And we were like, no, I'm sorry, that's not good enough. And now I've got download 105 and I've got an upload speed 5.8. So this means that live streaming quality is going to be up. This means that the speed at which I can upload videos to YouTube is going to be way, way up. So I should be doing more D20 advice stuff. Vlogs for Neve will be coming back up and running. I'm going to be putting up me just reading stories that Eric's really into at the moment. Really got to me earlier today. We had the engineer round coming in and installing the new broadband, and we had to take the pictures of Neve off the windowsill. And so we just had them on the table, and Eric wandered by and looked at them, and still in a fairly upbeat mood, just went, "That's Neve. I like Neve. I miss Neve." And he came over to get a hug. So I suggested we all just have a quick cuddle on the sofa. Then he asked if a monster had taken Neve away, which Robin and I found difficult to answer. It's because if you ask me, yes. But we managed to get around that and distract him with something else. It gets to me that he misses Neve, and he, for anyone that actually knows me in real life, I don't talk about my daughter an awful lot. And in fact, I'm going to need to wrap this up because my wife's going to come back downstairs soon. But I don't talk about her much because I don't want to be the guy that talks about her all the time, because it feels endlessly maddening, the whole situation. And so I feel like if I talk about her, I'm just going to end up losing it. And so the fact that Eric knows who she is and misses her without us like sitting down every few months or weeks or days or anything, seriously, months will go by without her being mentioned in front of Eric. It'll maybe be every few days, maybe a week or so, without me and Robin discussing it directly. Pretty much every day for me. There's the point is that I'm surprised that Eric, he was only a few months old. He was barely a year old when we went to visit Neve in America, way back in the halcyon days of 2014. 2014, 2015? Was it 14, 15, 15, 16, 16, 17? Yeah, so it was 2014. Yeah, and that was the last time that he saw her in person. And he's nearly 4. Kid's going to school soon. So I feel comfortable and secure in the fact that I've not given him a complex about the fact that his older sister's been abducted. I've not harped on about it at home around him for ages. So I know that he's not likely getting it from me. So the conclusion that I'm drawing is that these are his genuine feelings. He genuinely misses his older sister, and that means a lot. It really does. I mean, it's sad, but it means a lot to me that someone who means a lot to me means a lot to my son. Anyway, I'm gonna cut this short now. But thanks for sticking with me. Yeah, I'll post more videos in the near future. Yeah, see ya. Bye.